Welcome to our work session budget meeting. It is 7:06. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barnes to go ahead and get us started.
Let me see if I can share the screen.
Rick.
Did we practice last night or last time? Oh, he said, wait a minute. There was a trick to getting it on my, I have it on my desktop, so
Huh? Okay, I'm in a meeting.
I should have been practicing.
Can you take this stuff off of the table, please? Just put it in the sink. Oops, I'm sorry, guys.
You got it, Rod?
No, you know me. I'm struggling, but that's okay. I may get it. Now let's see if I get it. I have it open. And so I should just be able to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, where did it go? There it is. And do we have it?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh. Heaven. Well,
Els, close that door.
that's just great. Okay. So tonight we're going to just continue a little bit of talking about revenues. We're going to talk about public works and then about general government. The good news is if we look at the summary of everything that's entered as we go through this process, and hopefully you've got your books and you're going to be asking questions, and we're not going to go through every line item line by line, but the key point of the proposed budget for 24-25, as you see, the general government is at 538,000, the public works 487, the police department at 927. So those are down a little bit, except for general government, which is up just a tad. And grants is up because we have a number of other grants that we've received. And so we got a lot of activity going on there. We don't anticipate that we'll spend $796,000 in recovery funds in this budget year, but we have to rebudget for it as if we were going to. And then, of course, we have a little bit of debt every year through, let's see, when does that debt expire? I keep thinking it's going to go away and it's still there, but it expires in 2029 is the last payment. So we're only 5 years away from that. So not too bad. And so our overall budget is $4,751,255. We have very small capital purchases that go on in our budget for equipment and things because we just simply have never been able to build them in the budget. So we look for grants for that, and that's how we typically fund that. This 31,000 is primarily paying for lease purchase on the Taser, body cameras, car cameras, 2 police cruisers, as both of those work their way through being paid off. But what I wanted to really look at is down here in our estimated revenues. As you see, revenues, expenditures, balance. We have about $2 million we're estimating for our regular revenues, the 1.9 in grants, and then the 796,000 in ARPA funds. So, but if you take away ARPA, and if you even took away the grants, our annual budget would be $2 million, $2,028,515, and that's essentially our operating budget for the coming year. So, and about half of that is police department, a fourth of it is general government, and a fourth is public works. So hopefully that kind of helps you. Whoops, here comes Sarah. That helps you a little bit understand where we are with the budget. Carryover, I didn't project carryover this year because we're really running close. And an estimate I did today, it even looks like we could be about $67,000 to the red, but by June 30. But I'm hoping that's not the case, and I'm going to refine those. And before we finish up with this process, I'll have a really good estimate for you to know whether we're going to be all right. We usually bring forward a fairly healthy cash balance, but this has been a tough year with some revenues that didn't happen, some revenues that are performing lower than we anticipated, and expenditures being a little bit higher in some areas because of unexpected expenditures. So does all that make a little bit of sense? I hope.
Yes.
Okay, so if we go to the revenue page in your book and go to the summary page, I'm gonna do the summary. The very first page, that's kind of the easy. Oh, before we do that, let's look at the taxes. So the tax rate for the town, we have a 0.10 that goes for the debt service, and that stays every year the same. But what our regular real estate property tax rate changes every year, and that's because you always do the constant rate for that. So that means we don't receive a reward for higher valuation. We don't tax people. We keep the tax rate at the same rate it was the previous year, even though valuations went up, they adjust the rate down. So you can see in 21, 22, we were at 0.4264. Now for next year, we're at 0.3456. So we haven't raised taxes in the town in my 11 years of doing budgets, and I'm guessing prior to that, also there was times when we didn't raise taxes. So when people complain to you or residents complain to you about their taxes, it isn't from the town raising taxes, but of course the county taxes folks, the state taxes folks, and so there's other entities involved, and your valuation changes every year and typically goes up. So that, as a result, increases your tax burden. You want it to go up when you're selling your home, and you want it to go down when it's tax season. So it's kind of a bad thing. So this jumped down to a summary of the revenues, and you can go to your in your notebooks, you can go to the revenue section, and you'll have this page right in front of you. It's going to be on the screen here in a second. Okay, so as you see, our real estate taxes in the very first line aren't changing much. They're going up just a tad, but not anything big. As a result of the constant rate that we're using again this year, unless you all decide that you'd want to have a tax increase, and then we can obviously go through that process and do that. Vehicle releases, you see the raise in price there. Those are jumping up now, and we're fully staffed with the exception of one person. And I anticipate, and I believe the chief anticipates, and chief, please jump in if I say something incorrectly, that we would see an increase in that. Right now, we're seeing even below budget for this year. So that's because of the way that we've been staffed. Our tangible personal property tax, that hasn't changed either in 11 years. It's $1.50 per $100 or per $1,000 in valuation, and it generates for us. It's our second highest revenue source, and it generates. This year we're at 239,000. Next year I'm projecting to be at about 240 because I'm going to up this a little bit because we gained a new business that has a big warehousing over on Wyndham Road that had always thought they were in Bladensburg. So we went back and picked up almost 100,000. Well, we did pick up $100,000 in business personal property tax from them that we had not been getting previously, and now we're getting $25,000 per year on that particular vendor, which is great for us, and we're glad that it's now in the right place. I believe the
What
chief,
kind of business is it?
it's automobile distributing parts. It's that
Uh,
great big one building right next to RNS Springs as you go down Wyndham on the left-hand side. So it's
mm.
they have distribution centers, the company does all over the country, but that happens to be the one here. And then Chief is getting rid of a car this year, so we're going to get a little bit of money from an asset liquidation. So we always put about $2,500. Seems like we sell something that we gain a little bit of money for, although in 21, 22 we didn't. But last 2 years ago we did 5,700. This year he's potentially going to do a cruiser, I believe. Our business licenses are changing and they're going up $50 per license. And as you heard the other day, or I think you did, no, you may not have. I'm getting meetings mixed up. We met with the town attorney on Friday in a very long meeting, but Steve is doing a new process with the business license. He's following our ordinance. It's been on the books forever, in that each business license will not be issued until he has seen a use and occupancy permit, a good standing notice from the state of Maryland, real estate and business personal property taxes are paid. So that'll be the first time ever that we have done that. No offense to Chief Beal, when he was there, he did the use and occupancy check and made sure they had that, but we had not figured out that we needed to do the good standing and the taxes. But I don't think we're going to find a problem with taxes because we don't have high delinquencies in either one, and we don't have any delinquencies in business personal property tax, and real estate is very small, so that's not going to be a problem. And Steve already identified 20 plus businesses that are not in good standing at the state, and so he's already notified them, let them know that they need to get in good standing. Sometimes it's just a matter of filing a report, maybe it's a blank report, sometimes it's more than that, but interesting enough, I think all those 20 businesses are car repair auto shops. So, and that would be potentially because they're small businesses, they don't know all the regulations and they don't realize what they need to do. So he printed them out in both Spanish and English and has delivered those out to those businesses. And so that's a good thing. And hopefully we'll get everybody in compliance before their license goes out
Rod,
this year.
do you want to go through all the line items before we ask questions?
No, ask away as we go.
I have sort of a longer question about the real estate taxes that maybe would be more appropriate for a discussion once we go through all the different revenue sources.
Okay.
But the vehicle releases, we think that's gonna double because of doubling the cost for vehicle release. Is that why that's goes from 15 grand this year to 30 grand?
Yes, Chief, you want to?
Yeah, so the initial fee that we had set up was $85 for vehicle release. By us implementing the $150 vehicle release fee will increase it to that $30,000 mark over the 12 months, estimated at 200 cars.
So isn't part of the purpose of us increasing it is to like make it more of a deterrent for some of the businesses that are like, I'd rather just, I wonder then if I might feel more comfortable if we lowered that estimate a little bit, because we may just not have as many of those vehicles being towed with the fee going up to 150 from 85. I just wonder if we might want to be a little more conservative about that.
Well, I mean, we're estimating that we're going to tow 16 vehicles a month. So that's not even one a day.
But what is it now?
we're roughly getting 5 a week. So you might get 3 in one day, and that's still just from us towing cars here in town. So it depends on weather conditions and stuff like that. But normally we're impounding at least 5 to 6 cars a week, if not more.
Okay,
So if we did 5 a week times 52, that's 260. So we're only estimating next year we're going to be at 200. So we're already lowering it, but we could lower it more, I guess.
okay, no, I just, that's helpful to know then. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
we
that
we actually just towed 14 in one day 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm concerned about is next year with the rate being higher, the businesses may be like, oh, it's not
People
worth
might decide
just
not to
paying
do.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, because right now they're paying $85 and going right back to parking where we told
yeah,
them
exactly.
again. So that was the whole reason why we went to 150, so they wouldn't repeat this cycle over and over.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's-
suggesting. We
believe
might
that-
want to like change our risk calculation there because they might be doing the same, right? Where we may not need to tow as many vehicles because there's not as many violations because they don't want to pay 150 versus $85.
Right. You see what she's saying, Chief?
That got you.
So do we, maybe the 200's too high?
I think we go down to 100 just to test it out.
100? Okay.
Sorry, 200 was too high for what?
Vehicle releases,
The amount
that
of
we
vehicles.
would tow 200 vehicles next year during the fiscal year. And Sarah's point was, Mayor, that we're doubling the fees, so the $85 was people were repeating over and over because it wasn't a big
Right,
deal to
right.
come in and pay the $85.
Right.
So Sarah thought instead of raising this revenue, we should look at it being more stable, and so that's what we're going to do.
I think though, at the beginning, people are going to do exactly what they've been doing. And then I think it may decrease later on, but I think they'll do what they've always done only because they might miss the fact that it's gone up to 150. You know, they still think it's going to be 85, even though we're going to say it's 150, but they still think it's going to be 85. So we're going to have the repeat offenders for a little bit, and then it'll dwindle down.
I mean, it's always going to fluctuate because we have some mechanic shops in town anyway. With some of them receive cars by the truckload every day, so they have anywhere to park them. And that's one of the huge things. They don't have anywhere to park these cars, so they're going to keep reoffending. It may not be every day, it may not be every week, but at least 3 times, 4 times a month, they're going to reoffend.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about like how we have overestimated, right, on some other lines for last year, and I just, so that way if it ends up with more revenue that we didn't budget for, then that's gravy, that's wonderful, right? But,
Right.
maybe we can meet halfway, right? Like maybe 150 would be a better estimate than
Okay.
halving it. So then, Rod, on the personal property tax,
Mm-hmm.
so we got this extra $100,000 from this business, right? This year.
Mhm. Yes.
Is that
No, you see, we got it in 22-23. So not the current year. We only got the 25,000 this current year. The 100 came in 22-23.
because that was like back taxes too?
Correct. They go back
I
3
see.
years.
Okay.
They
Got
went
it.
back 3 years.
Okay. So, but we anticipate the personal
25.
property
Yeah.
tax being exactly the same from last year.
Right. I always underestimate. I feel better because in case a business goes out, they don't file a property tax return. We have one that's in dispute that's $53,000, and so
Okay.
it may come back that they don't owe the 53,000, and so yeah.
Okay. Got it. The speed camera line, I don't know.
Well, the good news there is, while we didn't get a big full month for January, we got $4,060. In February, we got 16,440. So Our estimate for this year that they told us when the camera was in the right location in front of Fountain Park would be $20,000 per month. So that's where the 240 comes from. Am I hesitant to put that? Yes, but on the other hand, it appears that where it's located at the intersection where people would be, you would believe, would be slowing down because it is an intersection, there would be more tickets. Plus, they've had a huge issue with clarity. They can't, because the camera's on the red light pole, it interferes, and so it doesn't pick up plates. And so while
Yeah.
there's lots of violations, there's not necessarily lots of citations. We're not happy campers at all with
I
and go
know,
ahead.
I know, I know.
Go ahead, and if you want to add something.
Well, I think that's really helpful context about the difference between January and February.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder then if we might just want to use $16,000 a month as our estimate rather than 20. And then again, if like we end up with more revenue, that's great. So that would be 192,000 rather than 240. I know you don't like me going through here and reducing our revenue projections. I don't either. I just
No, I don't mind a bit. That's what this is for. I love it. No, I want you guys to feel like you own this and make it yours, and I love it. So don't stop.
and I don't want to totally book this conversation either, but those are just a few of the things that I saw that just I thought we needed to adjust. I welcome, of course, other people's thoughts.
Okay, cool. And state income tax, it's going up every year, which we're glad that that's the case. So I used the amount we got for 2 years ago, and we're already going to exceed our reach that for this year. So I'm really happy about that. That's a revenue source that's growing. Police aid, it pretty much stays the same. It now that we're fully staffed, they base the aid and the percentage we get on our staffing level at June 30th. So June 30th, we had all but one, I believe, officers. Chief, is that right? He might be on a call. I believe was right. Our franchise fees keep going down. That's the cable TV, and obviously they go down because people have other options that they don't have to do cable. They can do all the other wonderful paid things that there are. Our highway revenue is going up again. The legislature keeps putting it back to the original levels. Mayor Gantz to be thanked for that during her time at the league. They worked hard to get that back in the state budget, growing instead of going down. And so that money goes, there's an offset on the expenditure side. That's what pays for our street maintenance that we do, such as lighting, signs, paving, those kinds of things that happen. So they offset. The county gives us $3,500 every year for garbage rebate. Nice of them. Our permits are right at $2,800. They don't grow a lot. Although I'm anticipating that with Steve, they may grow a little more. He's catching, between Steve and Betsy, we're catching more and more people doing work that should not be done without a permit. Amusement tax, that's a really great success story. Ever since the new owner took over, John DeLonobus at D&D Tire, the amusement tax revenue has skyrocketed. So you can see 3 years ago, we were at $11,000, and now I'm projecting 27,000. So that's, go ride the go-karts. We love it. More they ride the go-karts, the better.
How is that assessed, Rod? I'm just curious.
I don't know the percentage of their revenues that goes towards this tax, but it is a percent of their ticket sales.
Got it. Cool.
And what my guess is, they're doing a whole lot better bookkeeping under John, because he's meticulous, and than they were doing under the previous owner.
Hmm.
And I guarantee you, the state doesn't probably come out and audit such a small item.
Mhm.
Let's see, what else do we have in revenues that that's about, oh, donations continue to go up. We brought in $9,500 for Just Adopt a Child this year. We've brought in now each bicycle down that we're doing as an art project down Decatur is $1,000. We've sold 9 of those, and so that money will be coming in for that line item. But it's the Adopt a Child is one of the easiest. I don't feel quite like I sell my soul every time I ask for one of those donations, but anyway, we really do use those funds in a good way. So,
Hey Rod,
mhm.
can we go back to the rec center rental?
Oh yes, yeah. Did I
Are
skipped over that
these,
accidentally?
I'm just curious to know if these are our projections on income. However, we also know we might get that taken from us.
I
So
have no
how are we?
idea. I have had absolutely zero communication from them since before December when we met with Chair Ivy and you had your conversations with the various council members. I even reached out several times to say, Shuba, what's going on? And because originally, they told us they were going to take it over July 1st. Well, here we are
Yeah,
at the end of
I mean, like,
March.
best case scenario, that takes forever and they don't take it in the next year, right? But
Uh-huh.
I guess I'm just wondering, what are we sort of going to
Yeah.
do if
Should
this
we maybe,
28,000
yeah, should
almost?
we,
Yeah,
well, and that's not a profit number. We also pay we pay the cleaning on the
Mhm.
expenditure side that comes off of that. So our profit margin is more like about 15,000. But I could easily take it out and take the expenditure out and then we'd be safe, at least from a conservative standpoint. But you haven't heard a word from anybody either?
not yet.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give another phone call this week,
No,
and I will.
no. I think we leave it alone until they come to us because you indicated
Yeah,
that the council members, Amy and Chair Ivy, they had even suggested to them that they were going to do something different and propose different to us. They proposed to the mayor and I where we join our activities into their activities and advertise them in that manner, but then they were going to present some draft documents to us and they just haven't.
yeah. I mean, they're also going through their own budget process, so that might slow things down. But I mean, that's honestly sort of good news for us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But I'll make a note and change that accordingly. I had it originally out and then I put it back in and then I thought, okay, so yeah. Good catch.
Rod,
Thank
and
you.
this is a small, like unrelated note, but if we at any point might like have the rec center sort of like scooped out from underneath us by Parks and Planning, I wonder if we want to put anything in our contract that sort of indemnifies us from people who had planned to use it at a time when Parks and Rec is taking it over and maybe has different ideas for what it would be used for at the time of that contract.
Yeah, we are proposing that, as we're taking rentals now all the way out into the end of the year. And so when the contract ever comes out, we're going to propose back that they have to honor those.
Okay.
And
I didn't know if we wanted to protect ourselves, also put in our contracts for the rec center, right? For private parties that we contract with who use the rec center. Just something maybe to ask the town attorney about.
yeah,
I thought about that the other day, so.
okay. Got it. Good. Okay. Anything else there? Inspections, staying about the same. Okay, so our revenues now, when we do some adjustments, is going to be something a little bit less than that, but still right around the $2 million mark. So let's go to Public Works and talk about Public Works and some big changes there, as I'm going to be proposing to you all, and hopefully being innovative in trying to save us money. Chief Beal is doing a lot of innovative things in his department. So what I'm proposing, we have been, we went down to one Public Works
Rod,
full-time.
I'm sorry. I didn't
Uh-huh.
answer it. Before we jump into expenditures,
Mhm. Oh,
um,
you wanted to talk about tax.
yeah, well, I had two things I wanted to talk about. The first one's a little more fun than the second. So, looking at what the amusement tax looks like, I mean, that's a nice little chunk of change for us. And I wonder if y'all might be able to give us an update at all on what the status is of the some of those warehouses that are up on, hey buddy, give me just a moment, okay? All right. Some of the warehouses that are like up on Lafayette, the ones that we had been looking at for like that Edmonston, not market, but what were we gonna do there?
Yeah, collective. Uh-huh.
The collective,
Mhm.
because, and this is just me coming from, being a parent of a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, but it seems like we've got a lot of properties in town that would be ripe for putting in something that's like a indoor, like amusement, like trampoline park, roller skating rink, urban air kind of thing. Given our
Uh-huh.
proximity to DC, I feel like we could bring in a ton of revenue if we were to try to work toward recruiting one of those types of businesses into the area.
Yeah, that
Well, the where we were gonna put the Edmonston Collective, that's where Rewild is now. And I think they're thriving. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Yeah. I don't know how many buildings Mr. Martin has. I think it's Martin that has a lot of those warehouses. But that's a wonderful idea and thought. So it would take us to market it. It would take us to know what is available. Via Martin and Scott. I think Scott is the other one.
Well,
Is that
Scott
correct?
has vacant lots.
Yeah, it's lots, not warehouses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Martins have the warehousing.
Yeah. So I don't know how many are vacant. I don't think we have a whole lot. I know where Rewild is. I just have to say it slow because it's a trick. Where Rewild is, I think that was the one that we really wanted to. It was vacant for a while. We really wanted to have something in there. But what you're saying makes all kinds of sense, Sarah, because that's what we want to do. We want to connect with Hyattsville. So since that's the Arts District and they have everything that's going on, we want that kind of thing here in Edmonston. So some warehouse that could do something like the jump and whatever they do. Yeah, that kind of thing would be fantastic. But I just don't know that we have anything that's available for that. Maybe we could, Mr. Barnes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was looking on their website. I haven't had a conversation with George for quite a while. I'm probably due having one. It looks like they do have maybe some locations. Oh no, maybe not. When I checked the building one lease status, they're all occupied. Let's see. Let's try building two.
And the great thing is, while you're looking at that, the great, the great thing is that our warehouses, in most cases, if it's rented for some great businesses. It's our smaller areas that I don't think we attract the car businesses, but that's what happens to come our way, the smaller warehouses. So that's what we don't want. So we might want to mark it away. But also, Mr. Barnes, doesn't that mean that we have to be, I know we talked about this before, I know I really have, about us, our designation.
Well, that zoning over there is zoned for some combination of things besides just light industry, and so I think it can even be multifamily in the new zone. So yeah, we do have to be cognizant of that because a big share of the industrial parks on both Buchanan and 46th are, industry and not combination. But when they did the new zoning laws, they did change the Martin industrial area, but they currently have no vacancies. So yeah, we can have some conversation with George, and we can have some conversation with economic development and see about some ideas on that. I thought they were pretty occupied because I connected them up with Trey Davis over at Community Forklift when Forklift was kind of going through their difficulty and whether they were going to stay or go, and there wasn't anything that worked for them over there, but
Okay.
it's a good thought.
Yes, that's how we move it.
Well, I wonder, just doing some like medium to long-term planning about trying to attract different businesses. Do we have, I mean, I know we have that community development thing that the county put together for us. God, it was sitting here on my desk for like the longest time.
Yeah, the economic development strategic plan, we have that, and then now we're in the middle of the sector plan, and which will also do wonders to designating areas of what can be where and how and what for. Open house on that is here at the rec center on Wednesday next week, and people can come in and look at things and tell them what they'd like to see, what they'd want to see. It's a great opportunity. It's from I believe 5 to 8.
Okay.
And it's just walk in, walk out. But that's our opportunity to really try to influence changes. The key thing with economic development is demographics and then willing landlords. If you ask Palmer Manor and if you ask Bladensburg, they would love nothing more than to redevelop Annapolis Road and Bladensburg Road and Edmonston Road but they have unwilling landlords that don't want to take advantage of programs, don't want to take advantage of changes, and so unfortunately they all sit on it like they think they're all going to be quite wealthy someday, and maybe they will as property values continue to climb. But I thought it was interesting when we first started the Port Town sector discussion. There was a group of people from both Bladensburg, Cottage City, and they wondered, why is development passing the port towns by? Why is there no development in the port towns? And that's a good question. Other than one of the answers is county executive is concentrated on the metro hubs. So if you look at the development, look at the metro hubs, look at the Blue Line development they're doing at the stadium because they're trying to save the stadium. And they're not concentrating in some of the other areas that are out there. And so that's part of the problem that development has passed by. And then the other is, when they tried to develop the Crossroads into a dinner restaurant club, there was so much opposition that it eventually collapsed. And so this is the time. The sector plan is one of the best times to really put your 2 cents in to try to influence. And then I think the other step you all are taking that's really important is the Port Town CDC is resurrecting under a new leadership and a new group, and that will be another opportunity to create and do these things that folks would like to see happening from a not an entertainment, but from a historical standpoint. Bladensburg is really concentrating hard on the Bostwick House. They're concentrating on their other historic sites down by towards Bladensburg Waterfront Park. So good suggestions and good ideas.
Oh, that's super helpful, Rod. Would it be possible to get sort of like, I mean, I guess you're gonna meet with Mr. Martin and George to figure out like when do those leases expire?
Uh-huh.
And like for me, it would be useful to know like exactly what sort of kinds of properties we're looking at.
Yeah, they go after they go after vendors that are soft vendors that, they love the ones, they don't go after car repair shops at all if they
Right.
can avoid it. They used to have the Smithsonian used to have one of those warehouses over there for us storage, and then I think one of the theater groups had that one of them one time to build sets in there, and so it's been interesting uses. The collective was, the issue that becomes the problem that you're talking about is parking. There is no parking. Public parking is literally non-existent in those sites, and that's what one of the main things that killed the collective was the parking. Besides COVID, but
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, there was nowhere. We tried to rent and lease a space from Mr. Cohen on 46 to make a parking lot, and of course he wanted outrageous fees for that, and we couldn't afford. And so that's another big issue for any business that will come to our area is how do we deal with parking?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I can follow up offline with you and the mayor about
Okay.
it. Couple
Okay.
things.
Okay.
That's great. So, on real estate taxes. This is for discussion. I don't have like a view about whether this is a good idea, just to be clear. And I'd love for my other council members and the mayor to weigh in here. I wonder if we might want to consider raising the property tax, but doing it like in a progressive way so that the higher your property is valued, like we could start with like it has to be at a certain threshold, and then if it's at if your house is valued at that threshold or below, then nothing sort of changes. We stick with the constant yield rate. But once you get up to properties that are being valued at a higher rate, that could be per like $50,000 of assessed value or something like that, that it would increase a little bit more based upon the value for like just trying to do something that might feel a little bit more equitable for our community. Or to just run the numbers and see what kind of difference that would make for our budget if we were to do something like that.
I would have to check to see whether we can. There's not a community in Prince George's County that does that kind of thing, and Prince George's County doesn't do that. So I would have to make sure that one, the enabling legislation lets us do something of that nature. two, you're kind of making it sound like tax the wealthy, don't tax the poor. I get the desire. I just am not sure. In a real estate, I've never ever, Sarah, in 40 years, I've never had that kind of proposal put out on the table, or have I seen it in any community. I mean, I've only been in 3, but the communities never even thought about that. So, Coney, you wanted to say something, or Betsy?
Go
Um,
ahead, Connie.
okay, no, I was just gonna say, I don't fully disagree with that. I just think maybe right now is not the right time. I mean, that inevitably is gonna happen for everyone in the area, especially with those Hyattsville condos coming in. Like, I think that's just gonna attract a ton of development. And it's just gonna make all of our homes probably go up in worth. But with that being said, I think also there's just a lot of talk at the state and county level about raising taxes. So I think this might not land well with our residents. And I think maybe just spend the next year really doing research on what Rob said, one, if we can do it, and what is the best and actual most equitable way to go about this. Because we also have to take into consideration that there's also a lot of renters in Edmonston, which means that if we're raising their property taxes, they're raising their rent to their to whoever they're renting to, right? And that just often is low income families. And so I would just want to explore exactly what equity means in this situation.
I think that whatever I pay tax-wise on my house, whatever the rate is, that it should be the same throughout the whole town. I don't think we should be taxing people whose house value happen to be higher than mine, more money, nor do I think people whose houses are lower, I should be paying a different rate than they are because their value is that. I think if everybody should pay the same tax rate. Yeah, and as Rod said, when I was listening to you, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to tax the rich and give it to the poor. That was the first thing that came across my mind. So,
I appreciate the feedback. I was just trying to think through, I've been on the council this is my 3rd term, and we haven't had to deal with a budget deficit before. So, this is a new area for me personally, but, and Betsy, I take your point. I mean, I wouldn't also want to create like disincentives for people to improve their home, right? Like, and knowing that you might be, that might not be the right way to go about it. I don't think it would be like taxing the rich and give to the poor. It would be like trying to find an equitable way to do this for people who can afford it, that then would help improve services across the board for everyone in the community. So, but Tony, I think you're right that, you follow what's happening at the state level a lot better. And I think wanting to know ultimately how like that's going to land, because that's really what hits people's pocketbooks more than anything else, is important.
to me, there'd be no incentive for somebody to move into the town at a house that's $50,000 and put $100,000 into it to fix it up on the outside. They might do a lot of work on the inside where it can't be seen, but the outside still might look like crap, where they won't be assessed because the outside now looks good.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I see where you're going, Sarah, because there was actually, I think it was in your ward, 2 houses that went on sale for almost $1 million. So I totally see where you're coming from. But again, I just think we need more time to figure out how this actually makes sense.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it was like a wild hair of an idea, honestly. Like it wasn't a well-baked.
That's good. I mean, that's you throw out big, hairy, audacious goals, and then you never know when they're going to stick and come back in some format to work. So it's a good point. I was going to share with you some demographic data. This is from 2021, but our median income in Edmonston is 77,936 compared to the state median of 90,203. Our median rent is 1,680 a month, and we have 10.2% of our population living in poverty. So that means out of 1,609 residents, 164 people are living in poverty.
Not that I'm gonna skate by that, but Sarah, I think next year our budget will look a lot different. I mean, we did take a couple hits where we didn't think we were gonna take them this year. Between Rod and the chief, I think those problems have been pretty much straightened out. So I think it'll be.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
So I think with that straightened out, I think our budget and the money next year will look a lot more favorable to us than what it is this year.
No, that's a fair assessment too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rod, can you say one more time what the state average median income is?
90,203.
Okay.
Ours is 77,936. This is from 2021, most
Yeah.
current data.
Got it. Thank you.
And I didn't go over those stats with you guys. I do want to just take a minute to quickly do that in the reader's guide. You all can look at them, but I really want you to notice that the demographics just keep changing here. We're now estimated in 2021 to have 62.9% Hispanic population here, and 29.2 Black, and only 8.2% white. So you know, the Hispanic population keeps growing. The other two continue to decline. And so just keep that in mind too as we go forward into the future. And, you know, we celebrated Black History not very long ago, and they put up some stats about the population of the town. For some reason, there was a year when we took this huge dip. I don't know where all the people went, or they just didn't get counted. I'm not sure, but they showed the Black population and how it had decreased continually over the years. So the demographics are interesting, and the other thing that's driving that a lot is housing prices. I mean, we have a 600 square foot home on the market for $450,000 almost. That's a lot of money for you know, essentially an apartment size home. And so we're seeing, like Coney said, we saw our first $1 million home almost. I don't think it ended up selling at $1 million, but it came close and last year. And so we're feeling that growth push from Hyattsville, and we're going to continue to change. And I think you also see it in Riverdale Park, and you see it in College Park, and so it's surrounding us down Rhode Island Avenue. It's surrounding us, so we do have interesting times ahead. Luckily, that'll be for somebody else to figure out. I'll be retired, enjoying the beach, maybe. That's good conversation. I appreciate each of your candor and frankness. I really, really love it when makes my job. I feel like I'm doing my job when you guys are providing good input and good ideas and suggestions on how to explore and find new ways to do business and new ways to help our residents. Other questions on revenues before we jump over to Public Works? Okay. Public Works, as I started to say, has changed drastically because of our code officer making a change. He's worked for the town for 20 years. 19 of those, essentially 19 and a half of those, has been as a Public Works employee. When I have had for some time a thought that we didn't need 2 Public Works employees. It's very hard. We have 0.40 square miles here in town, so we're not very large. to say the least. And so, yeah, I like Coney. Just wait for the FBI. That'll be a while, but yeah, that'll be impactful. And so when Steve moved over to code, I didn't anticipate replacing him. And then the next thing that happened was our one public works employee suffered a work comp injury and has been out now since December 2nd and anticipates that will be out for several more months as he heals from his surgery next week. And so, so we found a different way to do it. We used a contractor primarily, and then we brought on a part-time person that handled the kind of small projects. And we had a safety audit done from as a result of a disgruntled employee that kind of pointed out that, okay, we need to look at how we do our business differently and better and safer. And so contracting it to contractors so we don't have to worry about that liability is one way of doing that. And it seems to have worked for us. We did our leaf pickup last fall with our landscaper, and it worked just great. No complaints. They went back out. In fact, to some degree, I think they even did better as they went right along the curb line every street, not just the piles of leaves that were throughout the street. And they made adjustments. The first time they did it, there was a lot of dust flying. I told them that, hey, when that happens, take a blower, blow it off the cars so that the cars are clean when you leave. And so then after that, I don't think we had any problems. All of our leaves last year or this year went to our composting program down at Watkins Park at the incubator farm for Eco City. So we're really, really happy that that occurred. So then the next thing was we needed to put up the lights for Decatur Street, the Christmas lights. So that was an area that our employee felt we didn't do in a safe manner. And so the contractor did that and worked out perfect. They put them up. They took them down. They even have them stored for us right now since we don't have a lot of space here. And then the next project was snow and ice. And while Betsy is our number one snow and ice person, maybe, as she helped out greatly, the contractors caught on, got it. I think they know now what to anticipate, what to expect. And while they've always been there to help us, the two guys were reluctant to use them ever. And so now they did it. And we had, again, no complaints at all from law enforcement, from our residents. And so I believe we've proven that we can deliver our public works services in a different manner than what we've been doing. For instance, today, I called up one of our local contractors here in Edmonston and said, hey, I've got a few little projects. Can you come take a look? They're going to put up some one-way signs for me on 51st Avenue. They're going to finally put up Mayor Gantt's little bullards at the end of 51st and Crittenton to narrow down the lane so that people coming from Buchanan will see that it's a one-way more clearer, perhaps. And they use them a lot over in Hyattsville. They're also, the contractor's going to put in, we got a grant to put in those lane markers for the bike lane on Lafayette. And so they're going to put those little skinny, tall things down to outline where the bike lane is on Lafayette so people are safe as they traverse up and down that street. In that, although that street is going to close, it's still a safe measure for the bikers. And then there's some pothole patching that needed to occur, and so I pointed out the potholes, and they will take care of those for us. The same with our street lights on Decatur. Part of them aren't working. The ballast have gone out, so we need to replace. And so the electrician will be in when I go tonight as I count the ones that are out, and then he'll get those replaced. So I prepared this budget going to 0 full-time public works and having only a part-time person that would work 4 hours a day, picking up trash, doing errands, doing small tasks that come up that we might need help with, delivering flyers, doing just light what I consider to be light public works duties. Saves us, as you see, a ton of money. The adopted budget this year was 104,000. Next year it would be 16,000. So now we don't save all that, because when you go down the line items, we bump up some of those because we're going to be paying the contractor to do that leaf pickup, to do that snow removal. Although we always budget for overtime of $10,000 plus in snow overtime, and then leaf pickup, we budget for that leaf removal or disposal. So if you go down, our street lights stay the same. I would like to, one of our Pepco's having a lot of conversations about how we can change out our lights to LED, but they want us to buy the lights and then pay for them over time, or they want us to buy the existing lights and try to retrofit, and it just doesn't make sense. So they haven't come up with a program yet that works well. We have 40 streetlights of our own on Decatur. We have 16 on Crittenton. I wrote a grant for 52nd from Crittenton to here to Town Hall, and I'm confident or hopeful that we'll get that in the fall. And then we have a grant, a bond bill that we're adding about 15 lights on 47th Avenue down from Decatur to the park and a little bit beyond. So we're adding a lot of our own street lights, and we're going to have, and they're all LED. And all, of course, wind powered is the generation for the power that goes with that as being a green community. So we'll wait and see what happens with Pepco, and if there's any programs that would give us grant dollars to change out all of them. Snow removal, I estimated we spent $7,500 this year. We had essentially one big snow event, a couple of times of sanding and salting, and so I estimated next year for 10,500. Global warming. Our mosquito control, we just got the bill yesterday. It was $1,293. So next year, $1,300. We do see an increase in our beautification because we've added so many rain gardens. The landscapers are responsible for the mulching and the cleanup of the rain gardens multiple times throughout the year. We're over 60 rain gardens. So we just got a new grant, as you saw, on add rain gardens on 47th and 49th, and the mayor is suggesting that we even look at new ideas and new ways to install our rain gardens so that we're at the cutting edge, as we have been always with that program. We're really happy that CBT, Chesapeake Bay Trust, and Prince George's County Stormwater Management Program recognizes the value of those rain gardens as they filter the water for the river. Plus, they also, I believe, a big side benefit is they help the streets from flooding, as that water can roll into those gardens and filter down slowly versus flooding out on the street. So, and we don't hear, or at least I don't, you all, I hope, don't hear much complaining about them. We got to step up our making sure they look good always. Let's see, what else do we have in, I guess that's the main changes in Public Works. Any thoughts, comments, heartburn? Go back to what we had, add people. Now's the time to let me know.
Rod, I'm just curious, the 16,000, how much is that per hour?
15.
Got it.
And I have a 3.5% pay increase in this budget, so it would go up 3.5% on July 1st to something more than that.
For the public works position, I know that we talked about contracting more work out and just having the part-timer, but I think it would be a good idea if we budget for a full-time person. I'm not sure. I mean, the person that we have now, Mr. Vanilla, is fantastic. Great. It's working out perfectly for us. But let's say down the line, if he decides he doesn't want to work anymore or work for us or whatever situation may change, it may be difficult to find someone that is part-time. And we may find ourselves contracting more, I think. So I think we would cover ourselves by just making it a full-time. If we don't utilize all of that, all those funds, cool. But
Yeah,
I think
we
should budget
can't-
full-time.
Right, we can't very well include in the budget a full-time position and do the steps we're going to do. But I'm not going to discuss those in an open session. I'll discuss them in a closed session if we need to.
I also think it might be a good idea to hire someone in the summertime, like maybe someone looking just for summer work, like a college student or something, because I feel like that's really when we have more work than during the colder months.
And that
Yes.
full-time, making it full-time would cover that.
Yeah, we could certainly add seasonal, a line item that had seasonal labor cost and have the part-time. We do get the End Time Harvest Ministry 2 interns, and we usually try to have them do some public works work out in the community, picking up trash and doing some of the gardens, the painting.
But that's
the
not where the
storm drain.
line item is though, right? No,
I'm sorry?
that's not where we take the money from though.
No, the End Time Harvest Ministry is paid out of our budget, and it's $2,000.
Separate, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, I appreciate your comments. And I will make the adjustments.
Well, I think I don't want to add a full-time person to the budget until maybe we discuss it in private.
Betsy, I wasn't saying to hire a full-time person. I just want us to cover ourselves
Okay.
down the line.
Okay, I guess before we add that line, I'd like to discuss it in private because I see where there might be a problem.
I get you. Okay. Closed session.
Okay, any other comments? All good from Public Works?
Rod, I just have a curiosity question. For trash and recycling services, do we cover that completely? Do we get anything from the county?
That $3,500. No,
$3,500.
we don't get anything else. Just that dump fee that they give back to us of $3,500. We pay for, we pay for everybody to have recycling, trash twice a week, and we contract that out every 3 years. Bates is our current contractor and has been for quite some time because we don't tend to get bids on it.
Got it. Thank you.
I did want to talk about in terms of revenue growth in the tax area, and that is annexation. We have entered into conversations with our town attorney's office to start a process to review annexing 53rd Avenue from Decatur to Buchanan. And we already have, the street is already ours. It's just the homes on that east side. And then on Edmonston Road from Decatur to the Bladensburg town limits, we would annex all of those homes. We have 2 of those homes at the very end that are already in Edmonston, but we would look at proposing to annex the homes all the way back to Decatur and doing potentially on both sides. Of course, Edmonston Road is a county road and would stay a county road, but and it's been newly done and new sidewalks. So I believe when we do our cost benefit analysis, the cost to us is going to be trash service that we'd have to pay for that the county currently pays for, and then police service, and then code issues. But I believe the chief and I are on the same line that would not require any adjustment in personnel to handle that area. Now, if we were to look at and think about going from Decatur towards Kenilworth Avenue, then you got a whole nother story, and it's not an area that any of us are particularly excited about because there's apartments, there's restaurants, there's construction, there may be valuation, but it isn't, the calls for service would weigh out and could result in us having to add staffing just to deal with that. So we certainly could do a phased approach and evaluate that in the future, but the first step, many years ago, you did an evaluation with Guy, and you were going to do 53rd Avenue from Decatur to Buchanan, just that one side of the street. I don't know what stopped it or what slowed it down. I have a file in my desk drawer. I probably could find some history, but this seems like an avenue that we should at least explore, and we've talked about it for many years. Feedback would be good.
I think
Okay.
we just stick with the Decatur, Buchanan, that area right now would probably be the best way to go. And not go down towards Kenilworth Avenue.
Thanks, Betsy. Okay, we'll keep marching forward on that. Okay, so then let's jump to general government, and then I'll get finished up so you can enjoy your evening, have dinner, celebrate putting the children to bed. Not much in general government has changed. I did do a salary adjustment. If you look on your book, go to the salary sheet for general government. I did adjust Asha Cole's salary based on her job, and that if we went out in the market, she would get significantly more than what she's currently making. And so I did up it, besides just getting a cost of living raise, I increased it $4,000 so that perhaps she stays with us longer. And if anyone concerned about that.
No. I mean, she's worth every dime.
She's doing an awesome job, and continues to be innovative with her approach and thinking about how to get people. She's adding text messaging now that goes out the day before the event or the day of the event. So the more people we get into that, at least that will let folks know if they've forgotten that this event was scheduled or not scheduled. And I actually put all of you in that program, so you should be getting those texts. And if you don't want them, I think it gives you the option to say stop. But I was hoping that that way you would also be reminded that to let folks know what's going on there. The only other big growth thing we have in our budget is always activities. Seminar stays about the same. I did budget for 3 of you to go to Maryland Municipal League. I already signed up 3 for this year. And if we want to make it 4 or 5, that's fine. Just let me know. I can up this. But typically it's been 3. And and 1 staff is budgeted, so 4 people for summer conference, and then 3 people for fall conference. The mayor's budgeted for National League of Cities. She attends and brings back exciting ideas and lots of good information for grants and various things that participating in that. And then I have the symposium, American in Bloom Symposium. It's exciting that we gained 5 communities from here in Maryland participating in that program this year. So I'm really, really excited. Not only excited about that, but the fact that I've taken over as president of the American in Bloom national organization. And so I think I'm crazy, but anyway, really thrilled that Brentwood, Hyattsville, Palmer Manor, Bladensburg, District Heights are all going to be gaining the value of having those advisors come and give them recommendations on making their communities a better place to live and work and play. So thanks to the mayor's efforts for that and convincing we're going to transform and change America in bloom. Our community events, the dollar amount drops a little bit because we're not going to spend as much for the 100-year events that we're doing this year, next year. And that's about it, unless there's other questions or thoughts or concerns. I have 7,500 for the fire as we do, and I've got 2,000 for End Time Harvest Ministry. That's what we've been doing. And the Port Towns dollars in there are for I can't say enough good things about our new town attorney contract. Judge Deloach is just doing a phenomenal job. He spent almost 2 hours with us on a conference call Friday, discussing a whole array of issues and concerns that the staff had, and it was just, he provided us answers immediately. And I did, Mayor, add $5,000 to the Port Towns contribution line for a new CDC, in case that happens and they would ask for some funds. We would have some available. I don't know if we want to throw that out to the other towns, perhaps. Did I lose the mayor? Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. Any other thoughts? That I was going to wrap it up at this. If that is thought, any other questions, concerns? We got plenty more coming. I mean, we can talk about this multiple times yet. Chief will be up in the next session, which is it next? Chief, when is yours? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I gotta check my email again.
I got it on my calendar.
Hey Rod, and just it kind of feels like we have a lot more going on this year with the anniversary celebrations, but we're spending $10,000 less than we are doing from 23 to 24. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, for next year. So most of the big thing, our biggest amount of money is happening before the end of the fiscal year. And so that's why I reduced it. Edmonston Day occurs June 1st. And so that's our largest expenditure. And we'll have that all spent. And then next year, I budgeted a much lower number for Edmonston Day. I took it down to 20,000. From this year, we're going to spend about almost 50. So a big decrease.
That makes total sense. Thank you.
Let's see, we have a budget work session set. Oh, we don't have any more set. I think we had planned one potentially for the 19th next week, but that's based on availability. The Port Towns quarterly meeting is in person this quarter. It's at Bladensburg on the 26th at 6:30 for anyone that wants to go and attend. And then on the 19th is, let me make sure that's when I had. We have these subject to change, and the mayor's availability. Is the mayor back? Must be a resounding no.
Eric went to go find her.
I don't hear nothing in the background.
You must have stepped away.
There she
Oh,
is.
I'm right here.
Okay.
Get the plate, put it right there. Oh,
Yeah,
where's
so
the trash bag?
So we
Sorry.
have another a budget hearing set for Tuesday, the 19th at 7. Does that still work for everybody?
It does.
It works for me.
Rod, say the date
Works
one
for
more
me.
time.
March 19th,
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have police, and then we can start talking about changes and wrap up and we'll introduce proposed ordinance at the April 10th meeting. So we're doing fine in terms of time, and if we want to slow down or anything, that's fine too. I know the week of the 25th is spring break, and so some of you may have plans. Mayor, that was all I had for tonight.
Okay, I apologize. Everybody was leaving, and so I lost my concentration. I do apologize. Did anyone else have anything for the good of the order? We can have a closed session on tomorrow to discuss personnel matters. But for tonight, does anyone have anything else for the good of the order?
Nope.
Oh, you got it? Yes. All righty then. Thank you very much, Mr. Barnes.
You're
And,
welcome.
I'll
Good,
see.
good feedback, good suggestions. So thank you.
It's my husband's birthday tonight.
Oh, wow.
And
Tell him happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
and we had a
Happy birthday.
a gathering, thank you. A gathering from, it was supposed to be from 5 to 7 because he has to work tonight. I said, have we been married that long that you will work the night of your birthday, sir? Okay. I told him, don't let me come to the, no, I said, don't let me come to the National Gallery of Art and find out you're not there. We're gonna have a problem. I won't be mayor anymore. That's when I'll resign because of what I'll do. Okay.
Chief,
well,
you didn't hear that, Chief. You didn't hear that.
No, I'm telling on myself.
Yeah, she
It
was
won't
muted
go
on my
well.
end.
It won't go well.
Mayor, you have your meeting with Miss Ross in the morning at 10 here at Town Hall.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, just
Appreciate
to
it.
remind you.
Okay.
And she sent some questions, but I don't think there's, I mean, you already know what most of the things you like for them to do, and because of your involvement with them from PGCMA standpoint, but I know that the staff has attended some of their webinars on what the different departments do, and it's been helpful.
Oh, okay. Okay. She sends out a lot of emails. Does everyone get the emails from County Exec's office from Denise Ross?
I know
She sends out a lot of information.
Asha includes a lot of it in the constant contact that you all get. Do you read your constant contacts?
Yeah.
Okay. She does grab it and put it in there too. So maybe ask Mayor if we should put them, the council members on her list.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if she does that, but.
Oh yeah, I wonder if no, it should be because you're still part of PGCMA. So I think it comes out to us, PGCMA. So
I also don't receive anything from PGCMA. I've actually emailed them to request information and I still don't get anything.
Okay, I'll make sure that you do. I'll get with Kiana, make sure. All right, cool. Huh? And I got your email today, Miss Coney.
Yeah, I'll get you an answer as soon as possible.
Thank you. What'd you say?
I'll say maybe I'm just rude about it, but if it's important enough, Rod sends out stuff, so I don't need to be added.
Yeah, no, I get you, because it's a lot. She sends out an awful lot.
Yeah.
So much so that I don't look at everything. I'm not the email person anyway.
Yeah, we try to grab, we try to grab the things that are applicable for sure, but it is a lot of information that she's really good at it. it's a good position and it's helpful from having that liaison
It
with
is.
with the county executive's office.
It is.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, well,
All right.
this meeting is adjourned. It's not one of our regular meetings. It's our budget session, so have a good night, everybody.
You all
Good night.
too.
You all.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
All right, thank you.
Night.